Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Raymond George, born a few years ago on the 14th of August in 1947. I was born into a family of 10. I had 5 sisters, 4 brothers, were the last son. We grew up in a very close-knit family. I attended the St. John's Brookfield School, Army School Tower Hill, Cathedral Boys School, the West African Methodist Collegiate, and then went to Furbe College in the University of Sierra Leone before I proceeded to the University of Leeds. I taught for a year at the Muslim Brotherhood before going into the civil service for 10 years. From the civil service, I proceeded to Leeds, where I undertook a course in drama and theater arts. Returning home, I was attached to the Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, and I was seconded to the University of Sierra Leone, the Institute of African Studies, where I taught for over 30 years. I must also thank God for the opportunity to serve as public orator in the university. That was an opportunity that I didn't want to accept, but I'm glad I did, because it exposed me to a lot more than I would have understood in life. And that prepared me somehow for other appointments. And after my retirement, I found myself faced with the opportunity of coming into public life. By that I mean coming into politics. During that time, my experience took me through the Ministry of Works and Public Assets as the minister for a year. And after that, I was appointed ambassador at large for heritage and culture in the office of the president. In Tabule Theatre, I represented the country in the Festival of Arts, Second World Black Festival of Arts and Culture, Festac 77 in Lagos. And I played the lead role, Kindo, in Dele Charlie's play, The Blood of a Stranger. Some years later, I was invited with Tabule again. We were invited to perform at the London International Festival of Theatre. And this time I was fortunate to have my play chosen, Bobolev, my first full-length play, and it was a musical. We went to London and also to Amsterdam. Some few years ahead, I was fortunate to have another play of mine, The Broken Handcuff, featured at the Canadian Fringe Theatre Festival under my direction. Came back to Sierra Leone and continued my time at the university teaching at the Institute of African Studies, where I encountered a number of students who are currently in positions of authority. I developed an interest in poetry, and I started writing poetry. And I believe this is what many people now know me for, particularly through my program, Poetry Corner. And it's a joy when I think of someone meeting me at one point in time and telling me that Poetry Corner saved this country from chaos during the 2012 elections. I said, what? I said, well, I must continue what I have been doing since I was a child. My desire has always been to create peace and sustain peace in Sierra Leone. And I believe that the family into which I was born enabled me to do that because of the relationship we had amongst ourselves. I was people conscious. And so, all through my life to date, this has been one aspect of my personality for which I thank God. It has not always been easy, but you find out that you have to sacrifice. As they normally say, no pain, no gain. It has been quite an experience. It has taken me to various parts of the country, and I believe I have seen the impact of some of the things I have done at first hand by interacting with people. And this is why I believe that my life was perhaps nurtured and created for peace creation. So I see myself as a peace ambassador through culture. And I would like to challenge Sierra Leoneans that peace becomes our portfolio wherever we are, or whatever we do. Whenever we're going to sleep, whenever we wake up, it must be the one thing that we cannot avoid thinking of, because it is essential for our development, not just for now, but for the foundation that we will hand over to posterity. This is perhaps just a short skit on my life. But I must say I am grateful to God that I have been enabled to do all that I have done with the abilities that He's given me.